Hello guys, welcome to the DMS online school. In today's lesson we are going to look at the biology 2026 biology lesson number 13 on Holozoic nutrition. Alright, if you are new to this channel guys, you are most welcome, and please remember to subscribe and turn on the bell notification below so that whenever I post a new video like this one, YouTube will be able to notify you. So don't forget to like, share, and also comment in the comment section. All right, so without further ado, let's go straight into the lesson. So today's lesson guys is on Holozoic nutrition. All right, so be looking at Holozoic nutrition. So in case you are wondering, what is this Holozoic nutrition? Well, in our introduction, we are saying in the previous section, for example, for those who are in my online group for online lessons in my WhatsApp, we looked at or we studied the structure and function of teeth in mammals. Now we will learn about Holozoic nutrition, okay? The complete process by which animals take in, process, and use food. So whenever we are talking about Holozoic nutrition, now you should know that it is a complete process by which animals take in, process, and use food. So animals, they take in food, process it, and then use it. So that entire process is Holozoic nutrition, which we are looking at in this very lesson. All right, so Holozoic nutrition is the method of feeding used by most animals, including humans. All right, so this nutrition that we are discussing as Holozoic nutrition, it is a type of feeding or a method of feeding used by most animals, including us humans. So it involves taking in complex organic food materials, all right, then digesting them into simpler soluble forms, then absorbing the nutrients and removing undigested waste. So that is all about Holozoic nutrition. So in this lesson, we will talk about the process of taking in food, the process of digesting these different kinds of food that we take in into simpler soluble forms, and then the process of absorbing these foods into the bloodstream, and then the process of doing what? Of digesting them. Okay, so guys, please remember to like and share the video so that many people can benefit as you are benefiting as well. So sharing is caring. Like I'm sharing, I'm caring. All right, of course, if you want to join for more online lessons like this one in my WhatsApp group, you can WhatsApp me on 0977 924175. It is at a smaller fee of 120 per month. Then you learn quality lessons like these ones here. All right, and then you are provided also with the notes. All right, so the word Holozoic comes from holo, means whole. All right, complete. Then zoic means animal. This means animals take in whole or complete solid food materials that must be broken down inside the body. So Holozoic nutrition, meaning animals are taking in complete or solid food and then break them down inside their body. Now let us talk about the main processes in Holozoic nutrition. So what are the main processes according to the syllabus when it comes to Holozoic nutrition? All right, so we need to understand that Holozoic nutrition involves 5 main processes that occur in sequence. So there are 5 main processes. So the number 1 process is ingestion. Let's define ingestion. We are saying ingestion is the taking food into the body through the mouth. So taking food into the body through the mouth is called ingestion. So don't forget this definition, because questions come in biology paper 2 where they will just ask you simple questions to define like ingestion. So this is how you define it: the taking food into the body through the mouth. So this is process number one. Now, what happens when food is taken into the mouth? So food is selected and taken into the mouth. So you select using your hand. So in humans, this one involves what? Biting, chewing, and swallowing. So you bite food, you chew, and you swallow. All right, when you put food in the mouth. Then different animals have different methods of ingestion. All right, so examples: humans use hands to bring food to mouth, bite and eat. Dogs use teeth to tear and rip food. Then birds use beaks to pick up food. Then snakes swallow prey whole, like complete. So all these here are different ways in which animals ingest their foods. All right, so after ingestion, as the first process, then we come to the next process number 2 called digestion. So what is digestion? We are saying digestion is the breaking down. So this is the breakdown of large. So digestion, the breaking down of large, complex, insoluble food molecules into smaller or into small, simple, soluble molecules. So this is the breaking down. When food is taken into the body, it must be broken down into small and soluble molecules, which now can be used by the body. So that entire process of breaking down large, complex, insoluble food molecules into small soluble ones is what is referred to as digestion. All right. So now, two types of digestion. There are two types of digestion. The first one, we call it mechanical or physical digestion. Mechanical or physical digestion. What is it? Physical breakdown of food into smaller pieces. So physically, you break down food into smaller pieces. So here, no chemical change. Food molecules remain the same. Example of this mechanical or physical digestion is chewing with teeth, or chewing with the teeth breaks food into smaller pieces. So when you are chewing food with your teeth, that is actually physical digestion, where you are breaking food with teeth into smaller pieces. All right, so let's proceed to the next page as usual. All right, so sorry. So let's proceed to the next page. So now, it also involves churning in the stomach, like muscles mix food, that's churning. Then also emulsification of fats by bowel, like bowel breaks fat into tiny droplets. So all those are examples of physical digestion. All right, when food is inside the stomach mixes the food properly. All right, so that is what we call churning, and that is also physical digestion. All right, because it continues breaking down the pieces of food into smaller particles. Also emulsification of fats by bowel, which is actually the breaking down of fat into tiny droplets. That also is physical digestion. All right, so the other type of digestion is actually this one here, which is chemical digestion. So what is chemical digestion? We are saying chemical breakdown. So this is the chemical breakdown using digestive enzymes. So when food is broken chemically using digestive enzymes, that is what we call chemical digestion. So here large molecules are broken down into smaller molecules. All right, so changes the structure. Okay, changes the chemical structure. So for example, if you have like a starch, a starch molecule has a different structure. It is changed into a glucose molecule, which has actually a different structure. So chemical digestion is actually a chemical change. So changes the chemical structure of the food. So examples already given here. Example, starch is broken down to maltose and finally to glucose by amylase and the maltase. So these two are enzymes. Like when we say starch is broken down to maltose and finally to glucose by amylase, meaning amylase acts on starch so that it gets to maltose, and then maltase acts on maltose so that it goes to glucose. So this guy will act on this one so that this one is formed. Then this guy acts on this one so that this one is formed. That's what happens here, ladies and gentlemen. All right, so now proteins are broken down into peptides and finally to amino acids by pepsin and the peptidase. Also here it means that we have pepsin here breaks down proteins into what? Into peptides. All right, and then peptidase breaks down peptides into amino acid. This will be taken care of as we will be looking at digestion of different nutrients. So this is just a preamble to show you examples of chemical digestion. Okay, why is digestion necessary? We need to know, why do we digest food in the mouth, then in the stomach, smaller intestine? So it is necessary. All right, so food molecules, which could be or which are starch, proteins and fats, are too large to pass through cell membranes. All right, so the food molecules themselves, as they are, they are large. So when we eat them without being chemically digested, they are quite bigger, so they cannot pass through the cell membrane. You know, a cell membrane has tiny walls, holes. So the food molecules such as starch, proteins and fats, even if you chew them, they are still quite big to pass through the cell membrane, and hence they need digestion. So they are insoluble in water, so still insoluble in water, so they must be broken down into small soluble molecules that can be absorbed, which means they can pass now through the cell membrane. So small molecules can pass through the intestinal wall into bloodstream. So that's the very reason why digestion has to happen. Chemical digestion has to happen to ensure that the food that we eat is broken down into small soluble molecules that can pass through intestinal walls in the cell membranes there. All right, now we have talked about process number 2 of Holozoic nutrition. So now we can go to the process number 3. Process number 3, which is actually absorption here. So what is absorption? Absorption is the movement of digested food molecules from the alimentary canal into the blood or lymph. So when food has been digested, it has to now move into the bloodstream. So that movement of digested food from the alimentary canal into the blood or the lymph is what we call absorption. So what happens now during this process? So we are saying small soluble molecules pass through the wall of the small intestine. They enter the blood capillaries or lymph vessel. Mainly occurs in the small intestine, particularly ileum. So this absorption will happen mainly in the small intestine. And when we use the word mainly, it means that it can also happen in like the large intestine, but the main region in the alimentary canal where the absorption of food nutrients occur is the small intestine, and the small intestine is divided into the 3 regions, which is the duodenum, then we have the ileum and the jejunum. So it occurs particularly in the ileum. Okay, so some absorption also occurs in the stomach. What happens in the stomach? Water, alcohol, and large intestine, which is water and mineral salts. So in case a question comes to ask you to say, can you state what is absorbed in the stomach and large intestine? In the stomach, water gets absorbed and alcohol. Then in the large intestine, it's water and mineral salts. All right. So how absorption occur? So this very absorption that we are talking about, we have to know how does it occur. Number one, we have to know that it occurs by diffusion. By diffusion. What is diffusion? Here, molecules move from high concentration, like in the intestine, where there is digested food in high concentration, to low concentration in the blood. Like whenever food in the blood has been now used by body cells, there will be low concentration of food nutrients. So the food that is in the stomach will be able now to diffuse into the blood to be able to be transported to the rest of the cells. So that is what happens for food to be absorbed by diffusion. Then another way is by actually active transport, using energy to move molecules against concentration gradient. So sometimes food has to move by active transport. This happens when the concentration of food nutrients is more in the blood stream than in the small intestine. So despite that situation being like that, food has to continue being moved from the stomach into the bloodstream. So in such a case, it will be active transport which will be responsible, using energy to move molecules against concentration gradient. All right. So that food now, which is absorbed by active transport, and then diffusion and active transport, will pass through the villi and microvilli, which provide large surface area. All right, that's how this process occurs. Now, what is absorbed? What is absorbed, ladies and gentlemen, is number one, glucose from carbohydrate digestion. Then the next one is amino acid from protein digestion. Then fatty acids and glycerol from fat digestion. Then vitamins from soluble and water soluble molecules. Then mineral salts from calcium, iron, and sodium. All right. So these are what are absorbed into our blood stream. All right. So let's proceed. So and water. So the other process which happens in Holozoic nutrition is assimilation. Ladies and gentlemen, is assimilation. Now, what is assimilation? We are saying assimilation is the use of absorbed nutrients by body cells for various metabolic processes. You know, the end reason of digestion is to ensure that that food which is digested, absorbed into the bloodstream, get to be used by body cells for various metabolic processes. So the use of the absorbed nutrients by body cells for various metabolic purposes is what is known as assimilation. So assimilation is the use of absorbed nutrients by body cells for various metabolic processes. All right. Now, what happens in assimilation? Here we are saying that absorbed nutrients are transported into blood to all body cells. So that food, when it enters blood, when we eat food digested, it enters blood and then it transported to body cells. So cells use the nutrients for different purposes. All right. So uses of absorbed nutrients like glucose used in respiration to release energy. So glucose, which is from a carbohydrate, when it is digested to glucose, it is used in energy or in respiration to release energy in form of ATP, which is adenosine triphosphate. Then excess glucose converted to glycogen and stored in liver and muscles. So whenever there's a lot of glucose produced during digestion, Any extra or excess is converted by the liver into glycogen and then stored in liver and muscles so that it can be used in the future. So, further excess converted to fat and stored in adipose tissue. So, if there is excess carbohydrate, which now cannot be stored as glycogen, that excess now can also be converted into fats and then stored in adipose tissues, meaning that under the skin, that's where mainly it is stored as fat. All right, so let us talk about amino acid. When it is absorbed, where is it used or how is it used? So amino acids are used to make new proteins like enzymes, antibodies, hormones, and structural proteins. So we'll actually look at these enzymes. We already looked at this. We'll look at antibodies, hormones in the next topics. All right, so then another use of proteins, apart from it being used to make new proteins, it is used for growth and repair of tissues. Like when cells die in our bodies, so new ones have to be made. All right, and also when people are growing, it is the division of cells. A cell grows, divide into two. Those two again, they grow, divide into two. So for that growth to happen, there must be continuous supply of proteins. All right. So amino acids are used for growth and repair of tissues like cells. If they're broken, they have to be repaired. You have a wound, it has to be repaired. All right. So used for growth and the repair of tissues. Then excess amino acids cannot be stored. They are deaminated in the liver. All right. So this process involves amino group being removed and converted into urea, which is less harmful to body, and then excreted through the urinary system. Then what is the use of fatty acids when they are actually absorbed? Fatty acids and glycerols used to make cell membranes, right? Then also used to make hormones like steroid hormones, then stored as fats in adipose tissue for energy reserves. So fats are also stored for energy reserves for future use, also used for insulation and protection of organs. So fats can insulate us. Like an insulator is a substance that prevents transfer of electricity and also to some extent transfer of heat, because it is a poor conductor of heat. So fats act as insulation. When you have too much fat, it helps you to prevent heat loss from your body. Okay, so that is how glycerol and fatty acids are used. Then we come to vitamins. Vitamins are used as coenzymes in metabolic reactions. Each vitamin has these specific functions, e.g., vitamin C for collagen formation. Then we have vitamin D for calcium absorption. All right. So mineral salts, when they're absorbed, what are they used for? Used for specific functions, e.g., iron for hemoglobin formation, calcium for bones and the teeth formation. All right, then we move to the last process of Holozoic nutrition, which is egestion. Egestion is the removal of undigested food materials like feces from the body through the anus. So the removal of undigested food materials like feces from the body through the anus is what we call egestion. So what happens? Undigested food, mainly cellulose or fiber, pass through the large intestine. All right. Then water is absorbed from the waste. Feces are stored temporarily in the rectum. Then feces are expelled through the anus. Okay. So That is that about the processes that are involved in Holozoic nutrition. Now let us look at the important distinction or difference, because people get to these two confused, like egestion and excretion. These two are different, okay? Like egestion is the removal of undigested food, okay? So removal of undigested food never entered body cells. The food that had no chance to enter the body cells or the bloodstream, because that food was not digested. So any food which is not digested and removed through the anus, that process is egestion. So egestion, removal of undigested food, okay, never entered the body. Never confuse it to excretion, which is removal of metabolic waste products produced by body cells, e.g. urea, carbon dioxide. So excretion involves removing those metabolic. So metabolic process, we have what we call catabolism and anabolism. So especially catabolism, where large molecules are broken down. So when they are broken down, there are some wastes which can come out, and those wastes which come out can be eliminated by the body. Also, like in respiration, where we have glucose, okay, plus oxygen, okay, where we form like water. We will look at these guys, plus energy, plus carbon dioxide. You find that the carbon dioxide released here is never needed by the body. So it has to be removed by gaseous exchange, in the process of gaseous exchange. So this process of removing now this carbon dioxide, which is coming from this metabolic reaction, is now a waste product. So this process of removing this is now excretion, different from actually what is referred to as egestion. All right. So what is in feces? So the feces is actually what? There is undigested food, mainly cellulose or fiber. Also dead bacteria. All right. Also dead cells from intestinal lining. Also bowel pigments, like give brown color. So that's why the feces have got that color, because of bowel pigments that are released during digestion, and also water. That's what is in feces. In case you come across a question asking you those, exams are very funny. They will ensure that there are questions that you don't expect them to be there. And that's why when you are learning with the DMS online school, you get to learn a lot which you have never learned. All right. So again, for those who would want to be part and parcel of the DMS online school, again, my WhatsApp number is 0977 92 41 75. Come so that we help you to pass biology at 120 per month. You pass with flying colors, all right, so that you go there and do whatever course you want to do in your life. All right. So let's now look at summary of these 5 processes that we have looked at. Like process here, definition, where it occurs, and then the result. Like number 1, ingestion. What is it? Taking in food, where? In the mouth. Result, food enters the body. Then the next process, digestion. Definition, breaking down food, where? Mouth, stomach, small intestine. Result, large molecules broken to small molecules. Then next, absorption. Definition, taking nutrients into blood, where? Small intestine mainly. Results, nutrients enter bloodstream. The next, assimilation. Definition, using nutrients, where? or body cells. Result, energy release, growth, repair. Then lastly, egestion, what definition it is? Removing undigested food. Where? Anus. Result, waste leaves body or the body. All right, so now we move to the next specific outcome that the syllabus asks us to teach. So we go to now the alimentary canal and associated organs. So the first question is, what is the alimentary canal? So if you are asked to define the alimentary canal, you must say the alimentary canal, also called the digestive tract or gut, is a long muscular tube that runs from the mouth to the anus. All right, so in your definition, you say the alimentary canal is a long muscular tube that runs from the mouth to the anus. So sometimes now here, the alimentary canal, sometimes it can be called digestive tract or gut. So maybe they may trick you by asking you to mention the other name of alimentary canal. You must know that it is the digestive tract or gut. All right, so if they say define the digestive tract, you can say it is a long tube, it is a long muscular tube that runs from the mouth to the anus. All right, so this tube here actually, starting from the mouth, stomach, smaller intestine, large intestine. Okay, let me do like this. So how is this happening? We have mouth, esophagus, stomach, then smaller intestine, those are in smaller intestine, then large intestine, then anus. So this whole. Okay, so ladies and gentlemen, we might end our video here because of the rains. I think you can hear the droplets of the rains on the roof. So I'm going to cut this video, hoping to complete it in the next lesson. In the next lesson, yes, or upload that I'm going to make. So kindly remember to subscribe, remember to like, share, comment in the comment section, so that when I post a new video, YouTube will notify you. For now, bye and see you in the next video. Peace.